One thing that you might want to do when you're composing sound to picture in Cubase is you might want to vary the tempo within a project. And there are various reasons to do that. The first one might be that actually a certain scene needs music to speed up or slow down. That's the most obvious use. But also what you might find is that you might have various scenes within a project that all need to be at different speeds. And rather than setting up 5 or 6 different projects for 5 or 6 different scenes, if they're all using similar instrumentation, that's quite a long-winded way to work around it. So what you can do is you can use the tempo track to change the tempo of a project in real time as it plays back. There are 2 main ways to use it. One way is to use it to change the tempo within an existing section of music. The other one is to use it to change the tempo in a gap, so that, for example, this section here is at one tempo and this section here is at a different tempo. If I go to my project menu and select Add Track, I can choose to add a tempo track. Here it is. I'm going to put it at the top just because it's a little bit easier to follow if you do that. I can expand it a little bit. Okay, now at the moment it's not active. My project tempo is 100. So what's playing back here is playing back at 100 BPM. If I activate my tempo track, then what you get is kind of a keyframeable timeline thing. So let's say, for example, I wanted my project to start at 100 BPM, which it is, but then I wanted it to slow down when it got to here somewhere, and I wanted it to be, I don't know, let's say 85 BPM, or transition from 100 down to 85. What I would then do is I would get my pen tool, my draw tool, I would add a tempo automation point. Now, this is obeying the snap settings, but I could put this anywhere. So I can put, okay, thank you. I can put my tempo point in there. And then I can choose the point at which I want the tempo transition to end, say there. And then with the pointer tool, I can actually just drag that down. Now what I've done there is I've created a jump. Okay, so at that point the tempo will jump. And you can see that actually what's happened is it's defaulted back to 120 BPM, so that's something to watch out for. I forgot it was going to do that. So actually, I want my original tempo to be, what was it, 100, okay? I can get rid of these points by selecting them and pressing the backspace key. So what I've done is I've created a jump. You can see it's adjusting stuff on the timeline as well to cope with the different tempo. Now actually, what I would prefer, if I click on this tempo point type thing here, is I might prefer a ramp, okay? So when I do that, instead of getting a jump, I get a tempo ramp. Now what it's done is it's created a ramp from the start. So if I undo that, what I need to do is point in where I want the tempo transition to start. I need to make sure that that's at 100. It's very easy to get this wrong. Come on, there you go, 100. I need to change my point type to a ramp. I need to get the pen tool. And I need to bring it down to, where's it gone? It's gone to 98, which isn't enough. So if I drag it down a bit further, there you go, right. So, okay, so let's take it down to 83. So now what will happen is when I play, and if I was to switch the jump type back to regular jump, I'll get an automatic jump between the two. I actually preferred it as a ramp. There we go. And if I wanted to make that happen in between scenes, what I would do is make sure that I had a bit of space. I need to turn snapping back on. I need to move further on. I need to add another point here. Let's say there. I need to change back to a jump rather than a ramp. I need to zoom in because I can't see it quite There we go. Okay. And I need to move that down, or up indeed, to something else. So now, there's nothing going on here, but when it runs over those points, if you keep an eye on the tempo, it's going to jump straight back up. So that's a way to switch tempo between scenes. Now, what you'll see is that the audio clips here haven't followed the tempo changes. Now, there are ways around that. That's something to be covered in a more advanced tutorial.